Hello and welcome to another special edition of Two Mr. P's in a podcast with me, Mr. P.
And the other Mr. P.
And we are excited for another one of our Two Mr. P's have a chinwag episodes. And we are delighted to welcome UK stand-up superstar, Mr. Nathan Caton. Nathan, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
We are okay. We're recording
Not
this
too
on Monday.
bad.
Yeah, it's been a Monday in school. How's your Monday been, Adam?
Just like every Monday, it feels like the whole week has been packed into the one day. I'm too tired for words, but very excited to speak to Nathan. So that's giving me that extra bit of Lucasade energy that I need.
Mate, don't build up my pressure, man. Come on now.
I want to heap that pressure on you.
So you are joining us on the UK number one's comedy educational podcast. We thought if we went as niche as possible, we can be number one at something. So we always say the tagline comes with it's the one educational podcast where you don't really learn anything, and we're proud about that, aren't we, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I've not learned anything new in years.
But yeah, we're delighted to have you with us. So we've obviously seen you on all things like Live at the Apollo, Channel 4's Comedy Gala. More recently been on, are you on something tonight? Is that right? Obviously this isn't going to go out tonight, but what is it that I saw you tweet you're on?
Oh, I'm on a Guessable on Comedy Central.
Oh, how was that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a laugh, really. Just a bunch of comedians sitting around playing games, trying to work out clues.
Yeah,
just a chance to get out of the house during lockdown and have a little piss about with your comedy peers.
Yeah. Oh, good. So you've been doing stand-up from around, say, was it 2004 when you started?
End of 2004. We started 2005. When I was 19 or so. Yeah, many years ago now.
Yeah. So can you start us off by telling us how you sort of got into comedy?
It started off as a hobby, really. I was studying architecture at university, and comedy had always been something that interested me.
Yeah.
Because I did drama in high school and college, and I used to do well in like the comedy roles. And then I did actually my first stand-up gig was actually when I was 14. I did a talent show at a church that I grew up in, and from that moment I was like, oh, I came off stage and people were clapping. I was like, I like this. I like this feeling of appreciation. This validation from strangers who don't matter in my life, but I want it. So I was like, yeah. So from that moment, comedy was always in my head. But I was a good boy, so I just carried on studying. Listened to my family. Went to university, and then after my first year, I was like, I didn't have a summer job or anything. I thought, wow, comedy. I need to do something.
Yeah.
Went to a comedy club, did my first gig, died
Really
badly. It was awful. I look back on it now, and if I could boo myself, I would. But even though the gig went bad, but I enjoyed being on stage. I was like, okay, I've done it. So I was like, things can only get better now. So I just kept on going back, and that was my hobby while I was at university. I was studying in the day, then in the evenings, instead of like doing coursework and dissertations and stuff, I was going to comedy clubs doing gigs. And years later, I'm still here, blagging it, and they're still giving me money.
Happy days. I had a friend who studied architecture at uni. Which uni did you go to?
I went to Anglia Ruskin University.
Right. Because he's an architect now, but he designs like the interiors to McDonald's restaurants. So
but he's not funny, so he didn't follow the path you went to.
No, he's not.
But he's probably very rich.
So. Well, yeah, he's doing all right for himself.
Exactly.
Yeah, he seems to renovate a McDonald's every other month. Yeah.
I wanted to just cut in there. So when you were 14 and you did a gig at a church, obviously, I mean, what material are we kind of looking at there? Are we talking knock jokes?
No,
chicken crossing roads.
No, I did all the dark, sweary stuff, mate. I'm now banned from the church. No, I just did jokes about the people, the congregation in the church and stuff, like, so that everyone would relate, because everyone knew that person I was talking about. So I just made it very like that church specific, a lot of in jokes, but it was our little world and everyone got it, so it was fine.
That's quality.
Great stuff. So I saw you, I mean, a while ago now, the poem you wrote, the lockdown poem about "Will you just F off, please?"
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
came from the heart, that did.
Yeah, just got to ask how lockdown's been. Did it improve at all after that performance?
It improved when she went back to work. Because my girlfriend, she's a teacher like you guys.
All right, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, when she went back, I was the one person who was like, keep the schools open the schools.
What does she teach?
English.
Right, secondary.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, like, I applaud teachers. You guys, we should be clapping for you guys as well. You know what I mean? Because the job you guys are doing, I think so many people now who are homeschooling their kids are realizing what a great job teachers do.
Yeah.
Because so many people are like, how do teachers do it? I hate my kids.
Yeah, we sort of said that at the beginning of lockdown, didn't we? We had like a week where everyone had to homeschool the children, and we had all this real admiration from parents saying, pay them as much as they want. And then I think the Daily Mail sort of looked at it and went, no, we're not having that. And then the week after, it's like another bashing article about teachers, and it was brought back down to earth. But yeah, it's right. I mean, we were saying just last week on the podcast, obviously with this second national lockdown, it just doesn't seem to affect us at all because we're still in school. So it's almost, Adam sort of compared it a bit like being in prison, you know, where you can go out and you might do like a shift in the library during the day, but then once that's finished, it's just straight back to your cell. And that's what it feels like. I mean, it's just so full on in school, but then there's no outlet beyond it, is there?
I get you, man. I get you. Yeah.
I've got two young kids at home as well, so I genuinely feel like Andy Dufresne. I'm digging a hole in the side of my bedroom wall to try and escape from my wife and kids.
One day you're gonna wake up. Where's Adam gone?
Take the poster of Michael Bolton down, and then there's the hole.
So we talk a lot about on the podcast about life at school. So got to ask, what were you like when you were at school?
You know what, like, people always assume that as a comedian that I was a class clown. But you were the class clown. But you were a right laugh at school. Nah, mate, total opposite. I was a goody two shoes, boffin teacher's pet.
Really?
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, I used to muck about maybe in the playground with my mates, but in the classroom, nah, mate, I was on it. I was focused.
Yeah.
Did all my work. Got top grades. Best in the class, one of the best in the class. Yeah, I was proper geek, mate, proper geek. Because it was instilled in my family. They instilled it in me to work hard, education. Like growing up, my grandma's answer to most things was pick up a book.
Yeah,
that was it. Anything you ask her, pick up a book, learn it. So that's what I did. You hear it so much, you end up listening. I picked a book. I was a bookworm. Like maths, like numbers. Even now to this day, maths is my thing. Like I like numbers. I see numbers and my brain just gets it. You know what I mean? Like I watch I watch Countdown, the numbers game. I'm glued. I'm like, okay, how do you? Okay, and I'll work it out.
Yeah.
I was a proper geek.
Oh well, tell you what, if the comedy ever dries up, then get you in the classroom, mate. You sound like a perfect candidate for a teacher.
No, I can't do the job you guys do, mate. Nah. After the day, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna kick someone. Get me out of here.
Yeah, you sound a bit more like what I was like at school, because I wouldn't say I was top of the class, but I was quite well behaved when I needed to be. And just see, Adam always thinks that I was a bit of like a boffin, bit of a bod, but I was just never caught. That's my thing. I just managed to get away with it.
Yeah. There's a skill.
I think that's a massive lie. What Lee likes to do is he likes to pretend that he's one of the popular kids, and he whereas me, I was the big man of my year. I was a bit of a joker. Wasn't the smartest, but wasn't completely the lowest. So I was right in the middle. I had some serious relationships when I was about 10, 11 years old. And like Lee goes like, I used to get away with it. No one played with him. He was only mates with the science geeks.
Not at all. Not at all. Fake news that. It likes to tell himself a lie. Yeah. So, I mean, did you enjoy school? Was it an enjoyable experience for you? Do you think that made it easy to focus?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, it depends on which lessons I was in, which class I was in. But for the most part, yeah, it was cool. It was all right. I mean, I guess I'm not a morning person. I've never been a morning person, so I guess waking up early in the morning, hated it. But once I was at school, yeah, it was fine. It was cool.
Yeah.
I was getting good grades. I wasn't getting in trouble. My family were happy with me, so that was fine. That was the main thing for me. I think that's why I was so good at school, because I was just petrified that my mum or my grandma or my dad would like slap the black off me if I got bad grades. So I was like, just focus, get this job done, guys.
So what would you say was your favorite subject? You said there, depending on the class, on the subject, what were your favorite subjects?
Maths and drama.
Right.
Maths and drama.
Really ones that you normally put together, are they?
I know, but it's like the two sides of me. There's like the math side is like my geeky side.
Yeah.
The numbers and stuff. I don't know, I just like numbers. And then the drama side is that's the comedy side of me. So I've used both of them in my life. Maths, obviously, then to go on and do architecture at university, and then drama, obviously, performing arts, and what I'm doing now. But maths and drama is like the two different extremes, but two sides of me.
And was it what was it with those subjects? Was it the content of what you were learning, or was it the particular teachers you had? I mean, was there any teacher that really made an impact on you as a up and coming performer?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think who I had in high school. Who did I have in high school? In high school, my maths teacher, I had a guy called Mr. Jackman. He was really cool.
Yeah.
He used to push me a lot, actually. And yeah, I mean, the content helped. That I like, the problem solving, the algebra, trigonometry, all that kind of stuff. I like to kind of, be systematic and work things out and all that kind of stuff. In drama, in college, I can't remember her name. That's how good she was. She was actually really good. She gave me a great comedy role. And then I remember she told me, she's like, just, you've got freedom, enjoy it, make it your own. And I did. And I remember I got a really good grade for it. But yeah, I just in drama, whenever I was given the comedy roles, I always enjoyed it and excelled.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the bubbles started, bubbling up to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. I mean, where did it start with the performing? Was it back in primary school? Did you have a starring role in a nativity or anything like that?
You know what I did actually? Bloody hell. I totally forgot I did this. I played was that the mayor in the Pied Piper?
Right.
It was one of the leading roles, which the head teacher, Mrs. McGill, who was actually a very influential teacher in my life, and she got to like my family and stuff. Was it the mayor? I can't remember, I can't remember what it was, but it was either the mayor or one of I was the bad guy.
Right.
In the Pied Piper.
Yeah.
In the production, I think that's the first production I remember. And then there's a few other productions that I did after that. I played I was in Of Mice, no, not Of Mice and Men, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Right.
There was a few performances actually that I did in school, which I totally forgot about. Thanks for reminding me.
No. What subjects didn't you like? Was there any subjects you absolutely hated?
What did I hate? English.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry if my girlfriend's gonna listen to this, but yeah, English.
I was just thinking that's one ticket to the dugouts there if you're flagging off these subjects.
I'm sorry. Okay, before I ask, what subjects do you guys teach?
Well, we're both primary, so we have to do a little bit of everything.
Okay. All right. Yeah. English, it was so long-winded. Yeah. You had to write a massive, 3,000 word essay. I could answer the question in one sentence, okay? just cut to the point, guys. I've got things to do. Yeah, I didn't like how it used to be extra and describe things in details. Like, I'm giving you the right answer. You've just been pedantic, okay? Just give me the right mark so I can get off my day. Yeah, I didn't like that.
But did you not find that with maths sometimes when it was a question that said sort of show you working out? And sometimes I remember being in school, it's like show you working out, and you just used to, if you got the answer one way and you could do it in your head, right, I got the answer, but then you had to just sort of write some random sort of equations just to show.
Yeah, I guess it's the same, but with maths it's different because my brain likes numbers and I know I've got the answer right. So that's, for me, that's not working out. That's just me showing off. So here's how smart my brain is. 3x over what? Yeah, that's me just showing off there. Right, but it's English, it's like you're just been long-winded now. I mean, just like talking for the sake of talking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You should always show you working out. Anyway, that's poor from you, Lee. Any children watching this or listening to this? Because at the end of the day, there's nothing worse than that kid who's wrote an answer with no working out and gets it wrong. That's when you're like, oh no, you didn't.
I've had it before where in the space where it says show you working out, they've doodled a picture of themselves with like a thought bubble of just them thinking.
Okay,
yeah,
I would give
English,
that kid marks for creativity.
Yeah. With English, like I found you always had that English teacher, especially in secondary school, who just wanted to make a metaphor out of absolutely everything. And it's like the curtain's blue, and they're not. They sort of really over it. Like, what does that? What do you think that's trying to show us? What's the author trying to show? Just like they've got crap curtains. Curtains.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just extra. I think the subjects that I didn't enjoy, it's never been a subject. It's always been either the content or how the teacher expressed it. Yeah. So English was one.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, art was another one. Even though I did architecture and I do like drawing, I'm very creative, but art was one. It's so time consuming. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like they should rename art "End Your Social Life," right? Because you spend all the weekend just having to like do all these like massive mammoth like art creations. It's like, yeah, it's impressive, but I haven't slept in like 72 hours. And then also I had some very pretentious art teachers in high school and at college. I remember in college, what was her name? I think it was Maya. Where her first day, she comes in and she goes, "Okay, guys, draw red." Right? And then we all start. I just drew an apple because an apple's red, right? And then she goes, "No, that is not red. This is red." And then she took like a pen and went on the paper and she went, "Now that's red." And I'm like, "No, that's issues." Okay. Just come on, stop. Yeah, I don't like that pretentiousness. Just let me draw and what I want to draw. Okay, stop being extra.
I'm starting to think, like, did you ever learn any of your teachers' names? Everyone, I bet if they're watching this, like, oh, I used to teach him. Yeah, I had this drama teacher. What was his name again?
Yeah, I know. So it's a very long time ago, man.
But it's funny you say that about art, because our middle brother, we've got another brother that's 2 years younger than me and 2 years older than Adam, and he loved his art, didn't he? But to
be fair, he was good though, wasn't he?
He was good. It's funny what he said there about not having a social life. He'll love that.
It is so time consuming, and then like I remember like going to like school with a massive like those massive A1 folders, you know,
that people used to carry on the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, knocking people's head on the bus. Sorry, sorry, it's coursework. That's why I gotta have it. I'm so sorry. It's so annoying. It's like, it's not gonna fit my rucksack. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, absolutely. Right. So, how much of so you talked about sort of performing and that sort of thing, but is there anything else that from your time at school helped sort of shape you, or the experience helped you become what you are today, a comedian?
I think just my whole, well, okay, I say first of all, I think my strong work ethic.
Yeah.
Having to work hard in school, having to study what I do, that's definitely helped me, because as a comedian, like, I'm I think I'm very, very hardworking. You know, in terms of I'm gigging, I'm on my craft all the time. Even in lockdown, I'm still working on stuff. And I think that's something that's I've developed that in school and continued on into my adult life.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, my whole high school experience it's kind of just taught me to be able to laugh at myself, because I wasn't the smoothest guy in high school. So being able to laugh at myself, and take the mick, and like your mum jokes, which I brought that from my high school. I use that in my comedy set now. I've got a routine about getting into a your mum cussing battle with an 11-year-old girl. So yeah, I think a lot of my experience from school. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right.
Yes. Of course. Yeah. Come on, man. That's my generation. Okay. Of course, I'm not gonna lose a your mum cussing battle to a little kid.
Yeah. I used to hate your mum jokes when I was at school. I used to really take offense to them. I don't know why, but at the time, I don't now look back at like what was I like, but I used to get really on my high horse with him. I used to hate him. Don't you ever call my mum?
Nah, well, that was the purpose of it. I mean, to get underneath someone's skin,
Absolutely.
Make them cry, make them sulk. But yeah, you don't take it seriously. It's all bants, isn't it?
No, I know. Yeah, that's just, I don't know. It's just my immaturity, I suppose, not being able to laugh at myself at that time. Yeah.
You were probably just a bit taken aback that people were saying stuff to you because you never had anyone talking to you.
Nonsense. So one of the features that we have on the podcast is like random things you only find in schools. So mainly sort of primary school, which is where we both work. So if you can cast your mind back to when you were at primary school, can you remember anything from your primary school days that sticks with you now, because you just think like, what was that about? What were we doing? Why were we doing it? Was there any sort of equipment? So like in the past, we've talked about things like go on, Adam.
Overhead projectors.
Yeah, overhead projectors, sitting on benches and assemblies, stuff like that. So is there anything from your school days that you might still remember fondly, but you just think, never seen that again in my adult life at all?
There's a few things actually. Okay. The chalkboard that you could just like turn around on the other side, or the chalkboard where like you had like a little lever and you just turn it and it will
so
around.
It does the full 360.
Oh yeah, and one had like squares on and one had lines on, and then there was one blank.
But yeah, it's chalkboard. Just wipe it off. What's the why are you doing all that for? Just get a board, just get a pad or a cloth, and that's it. Voila, brand new. Who designed that? Like, why are you wasting people's hand energy doing that when all it's chalk, mate? It's not permanent, it's chalk.
It'd be for the art teachers that want to show red, where they could go, this is what I made before, and then just leave it.
Do you ever remember a teacher like going like thinking that they had work from maybe the day before and they've gone down but someone's wiped it off, and they go and they're like pulling it all down the back to the beginning?
Yeah, no one saying anything. Watch him struggle. Yeah, that's definitely one. But the biggest thing that from my childhood, which I've never seen again. Do you remember those the pens? One side of it was like an actual biro pen, and the other side was a pen eraser.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, I think the pen end was blue, and then the other end, the eraser was white.
It would take away fountain pen, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would erase fountain pen.
What happened to it? I mean, it was when I was about, I don't know, maybe 10, 11, it was massive. And then I got to high school and it just disappeared. And I haven't seen it since. I've never seen a pen eraser in my life.
It's a big throwback, that, because that was a staple part of every year when you went to school and you got your stationery. You'd go to like W.H. Smith or
stationery box.
Get it out. And then you'd get one of those. I think it was because, I mean, when we were at primary school, you had to learn how to use a fountain pen. That was go-to. Whereas it's changed. No one uses a fountain pen now, do they? I've not seen a fountain pen.
It's a shame. It's a shame as well. It was like my favourite bit was a fountain pen, but the only problem is with them erasers is when you used to erase them out dead carefully, and then you'd flip it round. You do the old flip reversal, just like try and impress the ladies in year 5 and 6. And then you'd pull the blue lid off, and then it'd do a big blotch in your eraser bit, and you'd completely butcher your writing. Nightmare.
Yeah.
Or
you bring back bad memories.
I use it a lot with your farting pen. You know, when like you've put in a new cartridge in your Parker, and then it's just trying to get it to come through, and then you just sort of do that, and it just splodges everywhere, and it's like a razor in your pen.
Did you ever? We used to at like high school or Ambrose where we went, when you used to flick your fountain pen on someone's fresh white shirt from behind, so they couldn't see you, and you just go like dead quick, and then you just go down. Is that right?
Oh man, yeah. Oh, some of the silly pranks and stuff that we used to do in school, man. Like, do you ever do like the okay, this is very very immature, but we're boys. Boys will be boys. There's the ruler and pencil case where someone say that I've got a ruler, I've got on the edge of the table, and then someone else has got like a pencil case, and he uses it to go zup really fast, and you go doing with the ruler. like it's
so you got it like lodged in between, and it like yeah.
So someone goes zup, and you go doing. Because boys will be boys.
Yeah, it still makes me laugh.
Some legendary pranks.
Any other random things?
It wasn't a protractor, but it was a full circle, and then it had the inner circle bit cut out.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was called.
I
don't even know what it was used
360 protractors.
Yeah. But, that's what it's called. It wasn't a protractor, but it was a protractor. Okay.
I wouldn't know that, to be fair. When you were like, I don't know what it's called, I was like, God, neither do I.
Well, in those stationary sets, though, you used to get like a compass.
Yeah.
Which you'd use for like 3 math lesson in your whole primary school life, especially.
Is that the one with the sharp needle? The sharp like point? Yeah. I mean, imagine them now. The danger.
Mate, it'll be a lot of injuries at school, mate.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they were. You used to scrape with them with the compasses. You used to write your name on your arm. Didn't cut you, did it? It just like a little graze. Yeah, like a little. You know what I mean? Like, and you had like a little graze of your name, or like I Heart Kelly is what I used to write.
Nah, mate, I wouldn't. Mate, that's just self-harm, bro.
Yeah.
I wasn't okay.
I'm saying that I didn't have friends. He's trying to tattoo himself with a compass needle.
Sat in the corner. Do you like me?
So, but you had your compass, you had your protractor, but the one that I never, the most useless one, because you'd normally get a ruler, but then there was like a triangle.
The triangle.
Like,
yeah.
What? I don't see the point of it. Like,
didn't that have a gap in it as well?
Yeah, that had a gap, but I don't understand what it was for, because you already had a ruler.
Yeah, and also sometimes it was never like an equilateral triangle. It was like a isosceles triangle.
Yeah.
Unequal sides.
There,
like, who's measuring? What am I meant to measure with this?
What's it for? That I think that's random. Absolutely random.
That's never come up either in 66 eps.
Yeah.
Like that. I think maybe the eraser came up a long time ago, but them sets of like compass and stuff. I mean, there was no better feeling than doing a freshly sharpened pencil into your compass, as long as your compass didn't have blood stains on it, like mine. And then just like doing that perfect circle. I mean, it was dreams. And then do you remember when you used to like mark lines around it and then join them all together? Yeah. What was that called?
When you used to what?
What?
Do you remember? So you draw a circle and you'd put like lines every like 1 centimeter. That's when you'd use that circle thing. And then you join all the lines together and it'd make like a spirally pattern. Do you not remember that?
Like a spirograph?
Yeah, like a spirograph.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
That was the Christmas present you got and used to You used to put your pencil inside the circle and like follow it round, and you create all those patterns.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I
I
remember
had one of them
that.
for Christmas.
Yeah, I know you did. Nerd.
Did you ever do a thing like
tattooing myself with a compass? Because the art teacher asked me to draw red. Oh.
I got plasters for Christmas.
You know when someone's drawn a circle, did you ever do like, again, been really immature, but like you just nudge them and
that was my go.
Right towards the end.
Yeah. But with anything, if they're writing, you'd always go next to the person with the neatest handwriting, and just at the end, just give them a bit of a nudge right across the page. Classic.
Yeah. So mature.
Not let them borrow your eraser pen. I think eraser pens went with Tipex. Tipex must have overtaken them in the.
Oh yeah, Tipex. Gee, well, I can understand why they took away Tipex, because you can't have like 30 kids all high at the same time.
I know.
But yeah, Tipex.
They released the Tipex mice, didn't they? Do you remember them little mice?
Yeah.
But they were a pain. As soon as it came off the conveyor belt, you were never getting it back.
I mostly use Tipex to cover conkers, because I got told that if you cover a conker in Tipex, it will beat any other conker in the playground. Didn't.
Really? Wait,
but
how much Tipex were you? What, like a whole thing of Tipex?
No, just like you get your conker, stick it on your shoelace, and then you just cover it in Tipex, and it was to sort of create a layer before you took it to battle in the playground. Or is
Wow.
that you never play conkers when you were younger?
I used to collect them, but then I don't know. I never used to do anything with it. I just used to collect it and then do nothing.
Because conkers is completely banned from playgrounds now. You can't play conkers. It's prime conker season as well, but you'd sort of corkscrew a hole in the conker, put a shoe through, and then you'd like hold it, and then the other person had to like put it between the fingers and try and crack the conker. Fight to the conker death. And if you broke the conker, you were victorious.
But there was major finger damage, wasn't there? Yeah. When you misjudged it and smashed someone's finger, and you'd be like, "Ooh, sorry." Sorry.
People became famous in the playground for having conkers that went like 50 games undefeated.
Oh, really?
The guy
where they've got just broken fingers.
I think it was the guy who used Tipex, and I was like, right, I need to get that. I need to get that Tipex on my conkers.
No, I never played conker. I collected it, but I never played it. Never did anything.
Yeah.
You're really doing well at changing Nathan's view that you weren't a nerdly. Did you ever soak your conker in Tipex?
Yeah. So another thing that we talk about on our podcast, like one of our fan favorites is our Nana Maureen. Like we normally will phone her and talk to her about stuff, and she's even got her own little line of merchandise now, hasn't she? Nana Maureen.
Yeah, she's got these Nana Maureen mugs with a famous slogan. Whenever we ask her, no matter how good or bad anything is, she answers like, "How you doing, Nana?" And she'll just go, "Not too bad." Yeah, that's her answer to everything. So yeah, she's got her own little line of merch. Yeah.
But
nice, man.
Because you talk about your grandparents in your routines as well, and some of the stories of your grandma. Wasn't the one about where she had to speak to one of your teachers about?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. So it would have been when I was about, I don't know, 5, 6 at the most, and it was when we used to get milk at school. I think I was maybe like the last year, and before the milk got cut off. So we used to have milk at school, but I'm lactose intolerant.
Right.
So obviously I can't have milk. But being a kid, I didn't know what lactose intolerant was. So I would just force myself, even though I don't like the taste of milk, but I would force myself because all my friends were drinking it, have the milk, and then I'll end up being sick or getting a stomach ache, or just, came out from one hole or another. And then eventually my grandma got fed up. So she came to my school one morning, right? She dropped me off as normal. And then I thought that was it. She was going to go back home. We're in the classroom, didn't register. And then all of a sudden, I hear my grandma's voice, like a voice of God, just go, Miss Blackburn. And then I turn, and my grandma's in the classroom. This is like before the parents had to stay at the gate. She actually came in.
Yeah.
I don't know. No one challenged her. She came into the school all the way to the classroom, and then
no DBS check. None of that.
Nothing.
Not,
mate. Just strolled in like a G. And then she's like, she had a little thing of Nesquik, right? Because I can't have milk by itself, but if it's like in a little milkshake, I can get by with that.
Yeah.
So my grandma's like, she's very like forceful, straight to the point, West Indian lady, right? Doesn't take any BS, just says it like it is. And so she was like, Nathan can't have milk, you know, because he's lactose intolerant. So can he have this instead? That way he won't get sick or anything like that. But because my grandma is so so forthcoming, straight to the point, and my teacher at the time, Mrs. Blackburn, who sweet lady,
yeah,
but she's very, very introvert, very, you know, timid, middle class white lady. Like, she must have seen my grandma, and in her head, she must have heard, "Bitch, I'm gonna kill you," and she just broke down in tears and ran out of the classroom. And and I'm looking at my grandma like, what have you done? Like, listen, they don't know you like I know you. You can't talk. You got to tone it down, okay? You can't be coming into school scaring white people, grandma. And all the kids were like, oh, that's your grandma, Nathan. And from that day, everyone knew my grandma, and no one tried to mess with me because they all knew what was coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
From that day, you had a foot massage with every Nesquik at break time.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Running the show.
Next. Get that corn, please. Get the bunion. Get the bunion. So yeah. I mean, like my grandma, she's known at the school. Like I've like way after. So me, my two cousins, my little brother. Like my little brother, he was the youngest. He left school. I don't know. He left primary school 15 years ago, and yet like she's still known at the school.
Really?
Like, yeah, every now and again, like, she'll still go down like on the sports days and stuff. You know, and like she still shouts at kids who aren't behaving and stuff like that. And like
that to the teacher, just giving the eyes, just like,
oh mate, teachers don't mess with her, mate.
No,
the head teacher's like, you know what, you can do what you want, just don't hurt me, please. But yeah, like there's like people who like I went to school with, and I haven't spoken to them for years, and then I talked to them on Facebook for like the first time in ages, and they're like, "Hey Nathan, how's life? How's your grandma doing?" Like, everyone knows my grandma.
Was it like a case of Chinese whispers as years have gone by? Like, oh Nathan, do you remember when your grandma knocked Miss Blackburn out?
The room
she murdered Miss Blackburn. No, she didn't. She just spoke to her, guys.
Yeah. She only offered a different milkshake. Nah. Yeah, she retired. Oldest cock in the school, yeah. Amazing. So have you any other sort of funny stories from your school days that you can remember?
Oh gosh. I think just my existence in high school was pretty funny. I was a geek. I used to, because I had a growth spurt right at the start of year 7, so I had ankle swinging trousers. Like, I looked like you know, remember that guy Howard from the Halifax adverts?
Oh.
the black guy. Like, imagine him younger. That was me. Just without the glasses, but that was me. Just I was a proper geek, mate. Like if him and Carlton from Fresh Prince were merged together, that was my high school existence.
Really? Did you have the dance, the Carlton dance?
Oh yeah, I can do the dance. Yeah, that's right. That's a given. I can do all that, mate.
Coming back, isn't it? Aren't they doing a reunion show of Fresh Prince?
Yeah. I saw on Instagram actually. They're bringing the crew back.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. So another feature that we have on the podcast is something we call What an O, right? So it's where people sort of tell us stories of really bad shouts or embarrassing things that have happened to him. It's based upon one of Adam's best mates. You're probably best explaining the legend of OB.
Yeah, so one of my closest friends from when I was a youngster, and still really close now, he's moved to Australia now because he basically he couldn't do any more O's on these shores. He had to go to Australia to start a new chapter. But basically, we called it the O, obviously because he was called OB. So it was known as the O, and it's basically like it is just like a really bad shout. The example that I always go back to is to explain it to someone was when I was speaking to him, and he said, "Oh, have you seen that film with The Rock? It's where it's like Kindergarten Cop. It's called The Pacifier." And I said, "Nah, mate, that's Vin Diesel." And he went, "Yeah, I know." And I went, "Yeah, but you just said it was The Rock." And he went, "Yeah, but Vin Diesel is The Rock." So I watched Fast and Furious 5 with him, and honestly, he laid an egg. What unbelievable technology! Yeah. So yeah, it's just a really embarrassing, shocking mistake that you make. I mean, everyone makes them all the time.
Yeah, so it's like when I went to cinema to watch 1917, and then someone in the queue said, "Are you here for the 1917?" And I went, "No, the 8 o'clock." Because you know what I mean? That was
okay, so a mistake that I've made, yeah.
Well, yeah, because wasn't the one to do where you made a bit of an error with the church WhatsApp group?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, that. Okay, I can't. I don't think anything's been worse than that. All right. So this was a few years ago. It was one summer. This one evening I was at the gym, right? I'm working out, doing my squats and stuff. Yeah, I remember I was working on my legs, doing squats and lunges because I remember thinking that carnival was coming up, so I need to look good when I'm shaking my tail feather. And my girlfriend called me just randomly to see how I'm doing. I was like, well, I can't talk because I'm at the gym working out, so let me call you later. She's like, okay, cool. So I get home after my workout, about to go in the shower. And then I remember that I had to call my girlfriend, but I thought I'd be a bit adventurous, be a bit spicy. So I took a picture of like my rear end, like no boxes, just my rear end. And I thought, yeah, it's my girlfriend, that's no biggie. Sent it to her on WhatsApp, go in the shower, come out, and then there's a WhatsApp message from one of the priests at the church, and they're like, Nathan, you sent that picture to the church group. I don't know how. It's so stupid. And this was like before, now on WhatsApp, if you send something, you can unsend it and delete it, right? This was before that, so it was there. I couldn't get it back. So this group, just to explain it, it's like there's about 150 people in the WhatsApp group, and every morning the priest will put out like a little daily devotion. Right? It's like a little mini sermon, and then people can comment on it underneath, right? So on this particular occasion, there was like the devotion, then a few people were like, glory to God, and in Jesus' name, amen, and then just bang, a naked black ass, like just there on this WhatsApp group. And then I remember there was a comment underneath and it said hallelujah, and I was like, okay, is that for the picture or is that for the devotion? Yeah. Oh man, I don't know how I got that so wrong. I don't know how, but yeah. And then that I was calling my girlfriend. It was really late. It was like 1, 2 in the morning. She weren't picking up the phone, and I was like, oh man. And then the next morning she was like, why you call me like 10 times in the middle of the night? What's going on? I was like, you'll find out. Don't worry. And yeah, man. Oh gosh, I didn't go to church after that for ages.
Really?
I love that. I love the comments after, like hallelujah. I love like praise the Lord.
Yeah, they say it's like
we had a similar one. One of our friends did it. Like you must have a WhatsApp group with lads where some dodgy videos get sent in. And he forwarded it not to, well, it wasn't his family, it was his wife's family. So their little WhatsApp group, right? So it went in and it was this dodgy video, one it had him
Yeah, so I won't go into gory details about the video, but basically the video starts with like a camera panning across the floor, and there's some like children's toys and stuff, and then it goes round this like upstairs of a house, and there's basically just like a girl lay down on the bed, just like naked with obviously something, you know, something happening. And he forwarded it to his wife's family, and because the video starts with like a still of like this toy or whatever on the floor, they all thought that it was their newborn daughter, like it was a video featuring the newborn daughter.
No.
So
and then this is my favorite bit about that story is, like you said, the feature came in where you can delete for everyone or delete for yourself. He's in a mass panic, deleted for himself. So everyone else has still got it, but he can't see it anymore. And people were like, can you get this off the group, please? Like grandma's in the group. And he's gone, I've done everything I can at my
end. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Classic that.
I still think one of the uncles refuses to speak to him. And it's like 2 years on. Oh,
brilliant.
Amazing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow, funny.
So obviously if COVID had, the pandemic hadn't hit, I'd assuming you'd be on the road this year, you'd have had...
I would have been gigging non-stop as always, getting ready for doing my own solo tour next year. But that's still been pushed back, so I don't know when the tour is going to be. Maybe 2022 to avoid all the backlog. But yeah, all the gigs. Well, I remember when the first lockdown kicked in, my diary, which was packed, like April, May, June, July, just went vroom, and disappeared in like the space of a week. Like how many gigs? I don't know, but yeah, that all disappeared. And then just been doing online gigs, you know, Zoom gigs, gigs in like car parks and beer gardens every now and again. Not the same, but hey, it will do.
Yeah, so you've been able to do so, because I mean it's that sort of industry that has been hit, that I think massively, hasn't it? I mean, we had a couple of we started doing a couple of shows, like podcast shows, and we had a few dates lined up this year that obviously has been postponed. But you know, for people where that's their main sort of, you know, it's just been just awful.
Yeah, it's been. I think we've been like the forgotten industry, the forgotten ones. Kind of left to kind of just scrape whatever we can. I mean, I've been quite fortunate in that. Like, I've had the online gigs, which have been okay. Then had a few TV recordings and a few like writing jobs, which have kept me going. But there's been other comedians, you know, who have been as fortunate. It's like, gosh, man, what can you do?
Yeah. And so, what's your favourite TV appearance to do? What's your favourite sort of show or TV spot that you're doing?
That I've done so far?
Yeah.
Probably Love at the Apollo.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started doing stand-up, Love at the Apollo was the show to get on. You know, it was like you get on it, that's what you done something right.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time I got it, the first time I did Love at the Apollo was 2014, and I was nervous. I remember like a month before, my agent was on my case, like, get your 20-minute set together, get it together, and then perform it every night for the next month, so that when the Apollo night comes, you know that the back, like, you know it, you got it. But the more she kept saying it, it's like you're putting more and more pressure on. Okay, just back up a little bit, please. And then the night of the show, they put me on last. I remember I closed the night, all right, which made me even more nervous, because okay, I'm going to be the last thing these people remember. I need to be funny. I can't be crap, because then they're going to go home like, well, that last guy was awful, wasn't he? So I need to be funny. And you're standing behind that Love at the Apollo sign, and as you walk out, it comes up, and there's smoke everywhere, right? So the sign's coming up, I'm standing there, there's smoke, and then stage manager, whoever, is like, walk forward. It's like, but I can't see where I'm going. It's like, just walk forward. Walk forward, all the smoke on my face, and next thing I know, I'm standing there on the other side of the smoke on the stage, and there's like 3,500 people, how many it is, just staring at me like, come on, there's a joke. And yeah, I mean, once I got the first joke out, it was fine because you hear that massive roar, and the way the venue is, it's amazing. Like when they laugh, the sound proper hits you.
Yeah.
And then once I got that first joke out, it was like okay, cool. I know what I'm doing now. Let's get this show going. And it was cool. Yeah, it was a great show. I enjoyed it a lot. My mum, my brother, and my girlfriend, they came to watch me. And I think the best thing was afterwards, my little brother, who in all the years doing comedy, right, like he's never like properly complimented me.
Yeah.
Like he'll come to like when I do like Mock the Week or stuff, right? But he's never complimented that properly. But after like that Apollo performance, even he was like, "Yo, bro, that was funny." Like, oh, finally, I've made it.
Oh, amazing. So is that one that you did get do you tend to get nervous before you go on stage, or have you got used to it now apart from those special ones like you said?
No, like those big gigs, like I still get nervous. Or like even like if I'm like doing new material, sorry, if I'm doing like a new material gig, I'll still get nervous because I don't know how it's gonna go. But I'm excited, not like nervous that I don't want to go on stage. I'm nervous to see how this material is gonna fly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I still get nerves.
And who would you say were like your comedy influences through the years? Who would you say has always sort of inspired you to?
Well, as a kid growing up, I first started watching Lenny Henry because that's what my family were watching when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And like he was the only black guy, so it's like I saw him, I was like, oh, he looks like just like us.
Yeah.
And we could like my family could relate to his jokes and stuff. So he was the guy that I watched as a kid. And then my idol, from probably my teens, has always been Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Like, but old school 80s Eddie Murphy, like delirious, raw, trading places, coming to America. That Eddie Murphy. And then as I got into stand up and I started watching more and more comedy, people like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, George Carlin, at the moment Bill Burr, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then when I started doing stand up, like when I was an open mic and watching the headliners that I was watching were people like I remember doing an open spot at the Comedy Store. Did my open spot, 5 minutes or 10 minutes max. Thought it went well. I was like, okay, this is good. It's great. You know, I can play the Comedy Store. And then Michael McIntyre closed the show. Right, just before he was on the edge of having his TV break, he closed the show and he absolutely smashed the gig to pieces. And I was like, oh, that's how you do it. Like, I thought I did well, and then he didn't. He went on. I was like, I was I was vanilla. I was very mediocre. Like he absolutely blitzed the gig.
I think it would have been worse if you had to follow him, or
I've actually done that issue. I think he was doing some new material just years later, when I had a bit more credibility to my name. He was doing some new material, and then I had to go on after him and follow him. And it's like, all right, guys, can you just pretend that Michael McIntyre hasn't been here? Right? Just imagine I'm the first act of the night, please, because I can see the disappointment in your faces already.
Yeah. I saw on your Instagram recently you posted like a little funny clip about Black History Month and how Black history was taught when you were at school. I mean, if you were made Ed Secretary, if you were made to be, in charge of education, what would you, change or do to try and move it forward?
I would scrap Black History Month, right? Yeah. I'm not a fan of Black History Month. I feel like it's I can see why we have it, but I just feel like it's just it's almost lost its purpose. It's kind of just turned into like a box ticking kind of like virtue signaling month. Yeah. People try and show, look, I'm such a good person, right? Scrap that. I would just have history with Black stuff in it year round, I suppose just having a month where like made to feel special. Just treat us like normal people. Just put it in history, and that's it. You know, just it's part of history. Don't make it feel like it's has to be its own thing.
Its own thing that you got to add on.
Yeah, no, just put it in history, man. It's perfectly fine, and talk about it. It's okay. You know, it's don't shy away from it or pretend it didn't happen. You know, we can talk about it, learn from it, and move on in future to be better people. You know, just treat it normally, not like this special thing that we only talk about for like 31 days of the year, and they're like, okay, let's pretend, okay, let's go back to normal life now.
Yeah. No, make it more sort of integrated throughout the whole history curriculum. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, is there anything else that you'd change about education based on what you see? I mean, you might get more of an insight, obviously, with your girlfriend working in school. Is there anything that you sort of about that she'd like to change? That if you were, I mean, not that you need to be education secretary, because the guy we've got in charge is absolutely, no, I can't even bring myself to say it. If you were to change things, what would you do?
First thing I would do is pay teachers more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it because you guys teachers. Generally, pay teachers more. Pay teachers more. I'll try and lessen the workload on teachers, because my girlfriend, for example, like during half term, she's still just marking and planning and stuff. It's like, geez, yo, when are you gonna switch off?
Yeah, never ending.
And I know I'll try and make the role of teaching more fun, so that more people are getting into it, so then there's less of a shortage and less of a workload. Because that's one thing, like talking to my girlfriend, she always talks about, like, no one wants to teach anymore, like there's less and less teachers, you know. So that's what I would do. In terms of the curriculum, what do I teach? You know what? I would make a course about social media. Do like a social media course about how to use it wisely and how not to use it all the time, because there's a lot of numpties out there.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be exposed to all that.
How excited I'm getting, because I love this topic. I'm all about it. Because
I'm worried that the camera's going to start shaking because you're moving the table. You're that excited.
Because I talk about on my training. So I work part-time in my school, and I visit lots of other schools, and I do sort of training sessions for teachers, and my focus is on technology. So you know, one of my big focuses over the past, I'd say two maybe 3 years, is really focusing on, right from the moment children start school, is educating them about social media, because, you know, from the moment they're born, or even from the first scan, their whole lives being documented online, and we don't teach children about it at all. Like we've got, I always say, like, I think the biggest issue we have with social media is that we've got a generation of people who use it but don't have a clue about how to use it properly, and it's affecting so many things. It's affecting democracy itself. It's affecting, you know, trolling issues, cyberbullying issues. I think if we really nail it in as part of the curriculum, and again integrate it into every part of teaching, you know, we'll hopefully get the next generation of people who will be a little bit more considerate, a little bit more aware, a little bit more understanding of how these social media platforms work. So it's something that I'm very passionate about, because, like you say, there's some absolute numpties out there, and, you know, this year especially, I think it really brought them all out there, you know, whereas before it was sort of these little corners of the internet. It's so much more mainstream, you know, with everything, as far as like the conspiracy theorists, all that sort of jazz. And I always think, like, these people need to go back to school to like year 7 history, where you learn about primary and secondary sources, so that when they're using the internet, they're not sort of going, "Oh, I've done my research," and like, no, you're not. You've watched a YouTube video, you plank. You know what I mean? Research. No, I'm definitely with you on that. I think that should be a huge focus. But the problem is, you can't sit a test in it, and that's all the government sort of care about, don't they? It's like, get them on an exam, we're doing that. So
imagine, write your name and the date, and then write a funny status. That's the exam.
If you pass, it's if I like it.
I was going to say though, I obviously I completely agree, and I've got 2 young uns now, and it's a scary place when you look at it. But how can they teach about social media when you've still got to do Venn diagrams and pie charts, which I've not seen since I was in the classroom?
No, it's just working alongside it. I think just get it in alongside everything else, because these, and the thing you've got to remember as well, and I always think that kids learn from mistakes. It's from like making mistakes, and we were the last generation where we were able to make mistakes on nights out and do some stuff and not have it a video camera in your And we don't teach kids that, we don't give them the opportunity to learn about using social media by making mistakes and learning from it. It's like they've only got to make one tweet, one Facebook message, and then their whole life. Really.
They're cancelled.
Yeah.
I think social media. I can see lesson 1 already. Lesson 1 would have been how to use the block button.
Yeah. It'd be funny though, wouldn't it? Like a lesson on memes. Okay, so you've seen this social media post, and then it's like a multiple choice of which meme you reply with. Yeah, it'd be good. Right, so last question before we wrap everything up. And this is one that we always ask our guests. If you could go back and speak to your 10-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, gosh.
Stop drinking milk.
No, you know what? If I saw myself, I'd be like, the first thing I'd be like is, bro, buy trousers that actually fit you. Yeah. You look embarrassing, bro.
Mate, those they're in now though, aren't they? Like if you were in high school now, you'd be the peak of fashion with those
in 2020, but in 1998.
No. It was boot cut, mate. It was boot cut one. It boot cut jeans back in the day there. 98.
The ankle swingers were not the one, mate. I had white socks. Fresh white socks. Nah, disgusting.
Yeah. Well, thank you very, very much. Do you want to share where people can follow you or find details of any of your upcoming shows, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I know the slagged of social media, but I am on social media. I hate it, but please follow me, please.
You've got social media 101 degree.
I need the attention. Instagram at Nathan.Caton, and Twitter's at Nathan Caton, all one word. And yeah, any stuff that I do, I post it up there. So yeah, follow me there.
Oh, brilliant. Right, well, thank you very, very much. We've really enjoyed that. We've had a right laugh. And thank you to everyone for listening. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and we'll see you all very soon.